Morning folks, right, what we have is an AWI playtest game. Thought it's about time I got some figures on the tabletop. Just a tiny table with a few figures, but yeah, let's see how it goes. What we have is a Patriot force lined up at the end of the valley. I should just scan in a bit. So we've got some militia, a couple of units, got a couple of battalions, regiments of regular Colonials, a larger battery there, the guns are combined, and over the back a few riflemen just coming up on the flank, just the one commanding officer. And coming down the valley we have a small force of British troops. We got a British regiment there, buff unit. We have a Prussian musketeer unit, two small artillery batteries, and one over there, some Prussian Jaegers, and some Indians skulking in the woods that side, and whizzing over here, small unit of Indians skulking in the woods that side. As it's a playtest, I should just be using it as an encounter battle, so I know that's a bit of a cheat, but we can have the Colonials and the British both moving down the valley, up the valley, and we can see what happens. So for the game, equipment wise, all we need is two average dice, a d6 and a 240 pace measuring stick. Got a tape measure if I need to measure longer, which would obviously be the cannon, and a simple rule set that I'm using, which is our standard rules. Nothing exciting about them. Okay, let's get on. Right, let's dice for initiative. Go alphabetically. The British, and they roll a 6. I think they might be moving first. Colonials roll a 3. Okay, right, so I will get the British moving and we'll take it from there. And there we have it at the end of turn 1. The British have moved down the valley quite sharply. I suppose they're thinking it's only Colonials, they'll not stop us. On the Colonial side, the militia have moved up, 2 units of militia, a smaller unit and a larger unit, and the 2 Continental line units have moved up. Artillery on both sides have deployed. I say larger battery here, and the British have 2 smaller batteries, and the Indians are skulking up the side. On to bound 2, and the Patriots have initiative, so I'll get those moving. Okay, end of the bound. Interesting. Well, very interesting. The Patriot artillery got shot at long range from the British and failed a waiver test. They got half a casualty per figure, required a waiver test, and yeah, failed. Oops, oh dear. So they're now disordered, although they did fire back at the musketeers and did okay, did another half a casualty. The militia got fired at, but withstood that, but first time under fire. Waiver test, rolled a 1, they're disordered. Everyone else just did a little bit of moving, no problems, no disorders. Right, so we're on to bound 3. Okay, bound 3, things are hotting up a little bit. What did happen is the disordered Colonials firing managed to disorder the British guns that had originally disordered them, so fair's fair, I suppose. The militia in the middle took more casualties but passed the waiver test, but they are hanging on now, getting desperate. The riflemen on the Colonial side came into action, started firing at the Jaegers. This militia unit here had a few pot shots at the musketeers. Nobody did anything exciting to the musketeers, they're all hanging on. And the Indians, as you can see, are starting to creep round that side and coming over here. They're also creeping round this side. As soon as the militia see them, there will be waiver tests. They have to take a waiver test for seeing Indians. So. Okay, right. Round 4, difficult for the Colonials. Right in the centre, the musketeers advanced, shot at the militia, Jaegers shot the militia, artillery shot the militia. With the casualties received, Weber test became shaken. The Indians appeared before the militia, you can see that there. That surprised them. They took a Weber test, failed, they became shaken. And over this side, the Jaegers and the Indians fighting against the riflemen, become disordered. The two groups of artillery on the hill and the British one further down here continue firing at each other, but with little effect. Right, what I'm going to do is sort out now. I think we may have to have the musketeers assault the militia, see if they can chase them off as they're shaken. And because they overlap, so we've got one unit here of 24 and a unit here of 18, the musketeers could declare on both units. So right, let's see what happens. There'll be some Weber tests. Yeah, then we can find out what happens. Ooh, it's looking a bit dodgy here. We've already got the first militia unit here who has retired shaken. They passed the Weber test, so retired shaken, but the guys in the middle failed the Weber test, so they will rout. Now the thing we've got to work out, the route through the 3rd New York and the Pennsylvania Regiment to see what happens. Yep, so there's going to be some Weber tests, see if they burst through and upset these guys or not. So I'll now check that. Well, that wasn't as bad as it could have been. They passed the Weber tests and just became disordered as the militia ran through them. They only got as far as the Pennsylvania unit, so they haven't run through those guys yet. So that'll be a test next time. Also, looks like they're going to be running through the guns over there, so they'll be testing on the guns. Right, let's get this sorted. Round 5, the Colonials got the initiative, so it's almost like having a double move. They went second last time, first this time, so the militia here continued to retire shaken. The routing militia burst through these guys here and just disordered them. Oh, I'll have to get a marker. They passed. They burst through some of the battery. They took a Weber test. They passed as well. And the riflemen have withdrawn back up the hill, the high ground. Obviously the Indians and Jaegers are too much for them. Indians over there in the woods, Jaegers here. Musketeers, Prussian Hessian musketeers are rallying after the combat last time. British line infantry advanced and the Indians advanced to the top of the hill, looking to see what they can take advantage of. Artillery again, well, the main Colonial battery here couldn't fire because of the troops running through them, and the disordered one here did nothing, firing at the battery on the hill, the Colonial battery on the hill, and the other British battery over there, did it fire? No, I think there was nothing. No, that's right, nothing it could fire at because its own troops were in the way. So, right, I think on to the next band. Okay. Band 6, not a lot happened really. In the shooting, we've got the 3rd New York firing at the Musketeers, Musketeers firing back, and the cannon firing. What else have we got? I think that was it. Right, so what happened was Musketeers inflicted 2 casualties per figure on them, total of 36, but the 3rd New York general joined them, rallied them, got rid of the disorder, fired back. They also did quite well, did 27, which is 1.5 casualties per figure. So it's a kind of standoff firefight. The British artillery tried to fire over here, had a misfire, rolled a maximum minus, so they become disordered. Explosion in the ranks. Yeah, nothing really happened here. We've got a bit of firing, but nothing happened to the riflemen. The artillery battery, as I said, can't fire because the militia are routing back through them. So we now just have to work out any combats. Right, the melee, interesting melee. The 3rd New York stood, that's the Colonial, stood and fired, inflicted 9, and then 18 in the combat makes 27. The general was there with them. They rolled down, but that was able to get rid of the roll down to make it an evens. But the Hessian Musketeers charging in rolled up and also did 27. So that's just a slog. Both units down there, hand to hand, bayonets firing and all sorts of things. That's all that happened there. Right, bound 7, I think we're probably seeing the end now of things. The militia here have run into the woods, shaken, sort of milling around, obviously, as the Indians come herring up after them. The routing militia here have gone. The guns are now free of the militia running through them, but the riflemen have had to pull back. It was just getting too much for them with the Jaegers and the Indians. So I think it's all going to be on this fight. See what happens with this fight. This will probably be the decider, so I'm now going to check that. Yep, the end is in sight. The Musketeers rolled +1, the 3rd New York rolled down 2, and the general couldn't help them this time because he helped them last time. He could only help them in the first round. Yeah, so they scored 9 on the Musketeers, and Musketeers did 9 on them. So what's that now? Twice as many, and 1 casualty per figure. They now pushed back, shaken. So I think that's it. They're probably not going to survive this. Right, bound 8. British have initiative. I don't think they're really going to do much because I think it's all going to be on this combat, what happens here. So the British will see if there's anything they want to move. They might want to move off on that flank. The Indians will probably want to chase after these guys in the woods, but the centre will be where it all happens. So I'll just sort this all out. Indians have moved forward. There's a bit of skirmishing, pot shots going on. Nothing much happened. Militia turned around. Some are still running. The Pennsylvania regiment pulled back, still disordered. Obviously seemed prudent to retire. The general is with this unit, so he can't break off because they're in combat. The battery has manoeuvred itself round, so it can't fire this time. The riflemen have pulled back. The Jaegers have gone up the hill a bit in the long grass and scored 1.5 casualties on the gun web tests, but they were fine. They didn't become disordered further or shaken, and the Indians haven't gone any further. Right, this combat, and I think this is going to be the decider. And that was it. Musketeers crashed into them. They didn't. They continued to push back. Roll a +1, so it's back to 4. 9 at 4 is 27 casualties. These guys shaken, rolled evens, but it's a -2 for being shaken. They did 9, so 27 against 9. Twice as many and 3 CPFs. That's a break. So the 3rd New York break, the general's with him, which sweeps the general away. So I'll just move these figures. Yeah, it was all done by the shouting. Some abysmal dice roll from me. Anyway, the militia in the woods seeing the unit routing 3rd New York. Waver test rolled a 1, so they now rout from shaken. These guys here, who were disordered, they rolled a 2, which means they're now shaken from disorder. And the guns that were disordered saw the rout, rolled a dice of 1, so they're now shaken. Yeah, the riflemen over here don't have to test, they can't see it, but yeah, abysmal. So looks like a stunning victory for the British. We've got just about everybody routing, shaken, or disordered. Yes. Yes, the best unit on the table is the rifle unit, who are just disordered. Other than that, oh dear, oh dear. Both British guns are disordered, and the infantry are all sound, and the Indians are sound. Right. Yep, this now allows the British to sweep down the valley, King's Ridge Valley, down Yeah, no chance of the Colonials stopping them. Right, yeah, quite devastating. They'll have to run away. Yes, all of them. Right, this was just a play test, see how things are going. Happy enough with it. I think a little bit of tweaking I might have to do, but all worked well for me here on my lonesome, just trying it all out. Yeah, very pleased I am. I hope some of you liked it. Yeah, so thanks for checking in, and bye for now.